Hold up, so you're telling me that hobbits are short, love to party, love to eat, drink, sing, and dance? They're Filipinos. Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. So this review was requested by one of my subscribers, Louisa. And Louisa writes, "Hello there, Peter Pablo. I'm a fan of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I'm still in love with it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on The Fellowship of the Ring. Everything about this film that starts the trilogy I love so much. The characters, the musical scores, the story, the locations, the styles of the clothing, the weapons, the magic. Everything is so compelling and so captivating. By the way, I love your accent. And who am I, you ask? I'm Arwen, your #1 fan. Bye for now." Thanks for writing in and for your very kind words. See, I love comments like these because you can tell that she's a true, passionate movie fan. Now, for the rest of you wanting to know how to send a review request to me, it's just 2 easy steps. Hit that subscribe button and simply write your request in the comment section below. And maybe I choose your request for my next video. Plus, you'll be supporting this channel along the way, so why not? Now, let's talk about The Fellowship of the Ring. So in this fantastical world called Middle-earth, a hobbit named Frodo Baggins, played by Elijah Wood, inherits a ring from his uncle Bilbo, played by the late Ian Holm. At least after Bilbo uses it one last time to smoke bomb out of his own birthday party. Bilbo's longtime friend and wizard, Gandalf the Grey, discovers that this is no ordinary ring. It's a ring of power. Gandalf sets Frodo on a journey to get the ring out of the Shire as evil forces would be drawn to its power. Not exactly the kind of thing you want to lose. I can be a bit like that with keys.
Is it your keys? Did you lose your keys again? Or maybe they walk under the couch like that?
Fun fact, the role of Gandalf almost went to Sean Connery, but he declined because apparently he didn't understand the story and the script.
Gandalf is like the party wizard.
Do your thing, let me do my thing.
Well, why do you call him Gandalf?
But it all worked out for the best because we ended up getting a fantastic Gandalf out of Sir Ian McKellen. I can't imagine anyone else playing this role.
You shall not pass!
So this ring is essentially the MacGuffin for which the main plot revolves around. Kind of like the Infinity Stones in the MCU, the briefcase in Pulp Fiction, or the Holy Grail in a whole hell of a lot of movies. MacGuffins can be people too, like Doug from The Hangover, Nemo from Finding Nemo, or Private Ryan from Shaving Ryan's Privates. After Gandalf does his medieval version of today's Google search, he finds out that this is no ordinary ring of power. It's actually the most powerful ring that belongs to the most evil bastard in all of Middle-earth, Sauron. Sauron doesn't have a physical body, but his spirit lives on as this giant perverted eye on top of this dark tower, looking like female genitalia on a pedestal.
You know what your problem is? You're putting the pussy on a pedestal.
Sauron's power is directly linked to this ring and will stop at nothing to reunite with it. The bad news is, the only way to destroy this ring is to go deep within enemy territory called Mordor and throw it in the lava pits of Mount Doom. And this is the origin where the "one does not simply" meme came from.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
So Elven Lord Elrond, played by Hugo Weaving, aka Agent Smith/Red Skull, has put together a fellowship. A team, if you will.
I'm putting together a team. We're in. Good. Let's shake hands like tough guys. Some of your sweat went in my mouth.
This multicultural, mixed-race group that would make the Oscars proud to see inclusion and representation have formed an unlikely alliance for the common goal of destroying this ring by getting it to Mount Doom.
Where are we going?
So The Lord of the Rings is a trilogy of books written by famous author J.R.R. Tolkien. I always feel like a pirate every time I say his name. R.R.
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
So in 2001, Kiwi director Peter Jackson has lovingly adapted Tolkien's magic from paper to the big screen. It was nominated for 12 Oscars and won 4 in the categories of Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Best Visual Effects, Best Original Score, and Best Cinematography. Now, adapting a beloved series of books to film is a monumental task with plenty of existing fans of the property to appease, but also to attract brand new fans to this world of swords and sorcery that haven't read the books. Luckily, Peter Jackson was the right man for the job, along with his writing team and the entire cast and crew. Plus, he already kinda looks like a hobbit. Naturally, I have some good things to say about this film, but let's start off by getting my nitpicks out of the way.
You've been officially labeled a disturber of the peace.
Now, I know that a lot of people weren't a fan of the 3-hour-long runtime. I can understand why that would be an issue for some people, but for me personally, I thought that there wasn't a single frame wasted and every minute counted. Especially in the shorter theatrical version. Now, I watched the extended edition, which had a runtime of 3 hours and 48 minutes. Even though I still loved it, I can see why they left some scenes on the cutting room floor. One thing you need to know about me is when I first saw this back in 2001, I didn't know anything about the lore. Hell, I didn't even know it was a book. I didn't know about Tolkien, I didn't know about The Hobbit.
Hello, didn't you read Lord of the Rings in high school?
And I certainly didn't know that this was only the first part of a trilogy.
No, I had sex in high school.
So you can imagine how surprised and disappointed I was not to see them complete their mission at the end. I was in my 20s, so I was already used to getting blue-balled. But I don't recall any film ever blue-balling me this hard before. And I had to wait a whole year to see the second installment. A year!
This is the kingdom of blue balza.
And by the way, Gimli shattered his axe trying to destroy the ring. Then he offers his axe to Frodo.
And my axe.
So whose axe did you just break? The music composed by Howard Shore acts like some sort of teleportation device. Cause the moment the orchestral score hits, bam! I'm instantly in the world of Middle-earth. And the music for each environment is respective to its location and its people. Like you can easily tell the difference between the themes of the Shire, a couple of elf realms, dwarven mines, and Isengard from each other. And in these themes you'll find beauty, fear, peace, hope, and jubilation. All masterfully executed by Howard Shore and his orchestra.
Thank you, Academy. Thank you. Wonderful.
But what's the point of having music like this if it isn't perfectly complemented by the gorgeous cinematography? Luckily, this film achieves both in glorious fashion. It can be dark and foreboding. It can also be a treat for the eyes when we see New Zealand's lush green hills, rivers, and forests. The late Aussie cinematographer Andrew Lesney did a fantastic job of spoiling us with all of these visuals. What an awesome gig to be the director of photography in a movie like this. Not just because of its grand scale, but also being surrounded by this every day at work. The film is like a moving postcard from New Zealand in all the best ways possible. Both the practical effects and the CG in this film blew my mind. Peter Jackson employed the use of camera trickery and specific angles, also known as forced perspective, to make the hobbits look to scale when sharing the screen with their taller, non-hobbit castmates. Kinda reminds me when my tall friends come over. They used miniature sets and also created actual life-size sets like the Shire. The CG was fantastic when we see the opening sequence with massive armies of men, elves, and orcs come to a head. And the CG water effects in Liv Tyler's chase scene on horseback was a big wow moment for me too. So many times I try to find where the practical effects end and where the CG begins. And some CG creatures look CG, but still manage to look very tangible. We have wraiths, orcs, a Balrog, and Uruk-hai covered in lube. And let's not forget that
They have a cave troll.
from the initial opening scenes narrated by the talented Cate Blanchett, I instantly bought into the world that Peter Jackson translated from Tolkien's pages. And as the story progressed and rolled out this cast of characters, it didn't take long before I found myself caring about each and every single one of them. Even for such a large cast, the film never felt bloated, nor did it ever lose focus. And I really cared about their mission too.
The ring-bearer is setting out on the quest of Mount Doom.
With all the different characters, races, and a world steeped in history, it all sounds potentially complicated. But what we have here is a classic story of good versus evil. It's a fellowship of unlikely heroes coming together on a mission to prevent a lot of bad stuff from happening. And everything else about this world's complex lore, the film will teach you along the way, without ever going heavy on verbal exposition.
Move your feet.
There's also some great environmental storytelling here, from the ruins of forts or remnants of old statues. It just adds to the sense that this is a lived-in world. And even though this story tackles some serious themes, it's juxtaposed by some light-hearted comedic moments, mainly from the hobbits.
What about breakfast?
We've already had it.
We've had one, yes. What about second breakfast?
The level of detail that the costume and makeup department managed to achieve here is like nothing I've ever seen before in a major film project. You can tell there was a lot of love and care in making these costumes down to the very last thread. The armor and weaponry really speaks to the race or faction it belongs to. And the makeup for the Uruk-hai and orcs are fantastically grotesque. This is how I imagine a filthy PS5 scalper would look like. And the polar opposites of that are the elves. Man, those are some good-looking people. And apparently, Viggo Mortensen had an actual knife accidentally thrown at him. The actor playing the Uruk-hai misjudged the throw and flung the knife towards him. Luckily, Viggo has amazing reflexes and successfully blocked it with his sword. With this subject matter and the characters within it, this film could have easily been as campy as fuck. But luckily, Peter Jackson was the right man for the job. You can tell down to the finest details that this film was handled with so much care and love for its source material. And all the performances were great.
I will not lead the ring within 100 leagues of your city.
Now before I share my final thoughts, just a friendly reminder to click like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on my future videos. Subscribe. And if you like my content, I want you to become one of my valued subscribers by supporting this channel on Patreon, simply at patreon.com/PeterPabloReviews, just like these Patreon legends right here. You'll also find a link in the description below. And now for my final thoughts. Starting with the lows. Now the runtime may be a little long for some people, and the ending may seem a little abrupt, but I acknowledge that these are just minor nitpicks and not my legitimate lows. In other words, I have no lows for this film. Now just because I have no lows doesn't mean I think this is perfect, because if it was perfect, these nitpicks wouldn't exist.
Ooh, that was close.
Now let's get to the highs. Starting with Howard Shore's score, breathtaking cinematography, amazing visual effects, both practical and CG, and a captivating story.
That was good.
So overall, well, if you haven't already guessed it by now, I love this movie. And if you love the theatrical cut but haven't seen the extended edition, I would highly recommend it. If not for the awesome deleted footage, then at least for the longer action scenes. But otherwise, the original theatrical cut is plenty enough to leave you satisfied. It's got a Rotten Tomatoes score of 91% with a PG-13 rating, so expect medium-level violence and minimal horror elements. Like that one jump scare with Bilbo acting like a jealous girlfriend demanding the passcode to her man's phone. It's a wholesome story that makes for a perfect movie to watch with the family during the Christmas season. And not just The Fellowship, I'm talking about the entire trilogy. And if you want to learn about filmmaking, the behind the scenes and making of clips and the bonus features are definitely a must-see. And you can find these on YouTube too. I think this is the kind of film that would make anyone a movie fan. It's funny, scary, it's got romance, action, heroism, and redemption. And it reminds us that even the smallest person can make a difference. All the ingredients are here. Combine that with beautiful vistas and an equally beautiful score, and you've got yourself a movie that's worthy of being called one of the, now sing it with me folks, greatest of all time. Hopefully wherever you are in the world, you can find this free to view on your streaming service. But when I checked, I only found this on Amazon Prime with an additional rental fee. So you might have to rent it. But if you have friends or family that owns this on Blu-ray, ask if you can borrow it. Just no fingerprints or scratches. On a side note, the 3 films have recently come out on a 4K UHD box set, which contains both the theatrical and extended versions of the trilogy.
We've been able to remaster our 6 movies in 4K.
It never looked as sharp in the old days, that's for sure.
Dolby Atmos sound, which you can play at home with incredible surround sound.
Surely many of you have already seen the trilogy. As per this review, I am 1 down and 2 to go. But you can bet your ass that I'll be reviewing the other 2 very soon. So what do you think of The Fellowship of the Ring? I've shared my thoughts, now I want to hear yours. And for those who've read the books, did you still enjoy the films? And how do they compare? Let me know in the comments. And smash that subscribe button while you're at it. And who am I, you ask? I'm Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Bye for now.
Wait, how do I watch movies? What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, you probably watch that shit as much as I watch porn.
What are you saying? That has nothing to do with anything.
I'm just saying.
What, John? Movies and porno are different, John. They give awards for movies.
They give awards for porn, too.
Oh, shut up.
Oh my god. Oh god, everything I say is so relevant. Especially in the shorter theater. Gorgeous cinematography. Nor did it ever feel down to the very last thread. Let me know in the comments. Hey, yeah.
Hey! Shut up!
You know what's better than having the one ring? Being subscribed to my channel so you don't miss out on my future videos. And you know what's even better than that? Becoming one of my Patreon legends, because it helps this channel a lot. Do you want to see my other videos? Well, here you go. I regret to say that this is the end. Goodbye.